I left my husband for my lover, but when I got pregnant, he vanished, and I lost everything. I knew he wasn't coming back the moment the rain began tapping against the window like a slow, cruel reminder. Liam always called when he was running late, except tonight, the night I needed him most, the night I stared at the two pink lines shaking in my hands. I sat on the edge of the bed in the tiny apartment I'd destroyed my marriage for, the one that still smelled like new paint and betrayal. My heartbeat echoed against the walls as if trying to fill the emptiness he left behind. I tried calling him again, voicemail, texted, delivered, not read. My mind kept replaying his promises, the warm whispers, the soft half-smile he wore when he told me my old life was holding me back. The way he swore he'd give me everything my husband couldn't. The way he kissed me like a future. But the longer the silence stretched, the more it felt like a sentence. I told myself he was busy. I told myself he'd walk in any moment. But the truth hovered at the edge of my thoughts, cold and merciless. He was gone. The man I left my husband for, the man I burned my marriage for, the man I destroyed everything for. Gone, the moment he realized I was carrying his child. And the worst part? I already knew. Somewhere deep inside, I knew this was always where the story was going to end. My husband, Daniel, never raised his voice. Even when he found my packed suitcase by the door, even when he watched me avoid meeting his eyes, his voice stayed painfully calm. "Is it him?" he asked. I couldn't answer. Silence was the only truth I had left. Daniel nodded like he'd seen this coming. Maybe he had. Maybe I'd been slipping away in small, quiet ways long before I admitted it to myself. The late nights at work, the newfound obsession with my phone, the emotional distance I didn't bother to explain. When I finally walked out, Liam was waiting in his car down the street. I didn't look back. I told myself it was bravery. But now, sitting alone in the dark of the apartment Liam insisted would be our fresh start, all I could feel was the weight of the future pressing down on me like a warning. My marriage had been safe, predictable, warm, familiar. But Liam was danger disguised as desire. He was fire to Daniel's steady warmth. He was what I thought passion was supposed to feel like. I used to replay the moment he touched my hand for the first time in the office elevator, the static between us, the way my pulse stumbled. I thought that meant destiny. I thought temptation was a sign. I thought love should feel like drowning. But now, staring at the pregnancy test, the real conflict began to unravel in my mind. Did Liam ever love me? Was I just a distraction, a rebellion, a game? And worst of all, had I traded a stable life for a fantasy that never existed? I didn't want to believe he'd left me, not yet. So I did what any desperate person does. I investigated, quietly, methodically. I checked the location he'd shared with me months ago, disabled. I scrolled through our messages, his flirtations, his declarations, his promises, and realized every word felt different now. Hollow, scripted. I called his workplace. "Sorry, he left early today," the receptionist said. Left early, but not to me. Panic seeped into me like slow poison. I searched social media. No updates, no posts, no hints. Finally, I called his best friend. "Oh, you didn't know?" his friend said, voice tightening. "Liam's been thinking about ending things." My heart cracked quietly inside my chest. Ending things? With me? With us? With the future he claimed to want? I ended the call before his friend could say more. The walls of the apartment felt like they were closing in, suffocating me with every lie I had believed. I sank to the floor, gripping my stomach as though I could shield the life inside from the truth forming in my mind. Liam didn't disappear because he was scared. He disappeared because he never planned to stay. And as the hours passed, a strange, cold clarity settled over me. I had ruined my marriage for a man who saw me as an escape, until the escape became responsibility. I had sacrificed everything for someone who evaporated the moment life became real. But the worst realization? I didn't know how to go back. Not to Daniel, not to who I used to be. I had crossed a line, and there was no returning. Alone. It took 3 days before Liam finally contacted me. A single text. We need to talk. My fingers trembled as I typed an address he already knew, the apartment he abandoned. He arrived an hour later. No flowers, no apology, just a blank, practiced expression. His eyes didn't go to me first. They went to my hand, the hand resting on my stomach. So, he said, exhaling slowly, it's real. Real, that's the word he chose. I nodded, feeling my heartbeat echo through the room. I can't do this, he continued. Those 4 words sliced deeper than anything I could have imagined. You knew what this was, he said, tone almost bored. You were unhappy. I was a way out. But a baby? That's not what I signed up for. I stared at him as the truth finally crystallized into something undeniable. He never loved me. He loved being wanted. He loved being chosen. He loved the thrill. But not me. Never me. You left your husband, he added, because you wanted something exciting. I get it, but I'm not going to ruin my life over a mistake. A mistake. The child. Me. Everything. He stood to leave. I'll transfer some money, enough to help you settle things. The final insult. I didn't cry, didn't scream, didn't beg. I simply watched him walk out, realizing the full, brutal truth. I had destroyed my marriage for a man who didn't even see me as human. I returned to the house I once called home 2 weeks later, not to win Daniel back, not to explain, not to ask for forgiveness, but to tell the truth. When he opened the door, the surprise in his eyes cut deeper than anger would have. "Why are you here?" he asked. I handed him an envelope, ultrasound photo, dates, proof. "I thought you should know," I said softly. He stared at the image, his jaw tightened. His eyes flickered with something, pain, betrayal, maybe closure. "It's his?" he asked. "Yes." Daniel nodded slowly. "And he's gone?" I didn't answer. I didn't need to. He exhaled, a long, steady breath, the kind people release when a wound finally stops bleeding. Then he said something I didn't expect. "You didn't lose me the day you left. You lost me long before that." I felt those words like a quiet, devastating blow. Not angry, not loud, but final. "I'm filing the divorce," he added, "and I won't fight you on anything, but we're done. In every way." I nodded. There was nothing else to say. As I turned to leave, he spoke one last time. "I hope he was worth everything you threw away." He wasn't, and we both knew it. But the revenge wasn't his words. It wasn't the divorce. It wasn't the coldness. The real revenge was the truth I had to live with. I traded love for lust, security for chaos, a husband for a ghost. And I was the only one left to face the wreckage. Months passed. Life forced me forward. I moved to a smaller apartment, found a new job, prepared for motherhood alone. Sometimes, late at night, I thought of Daniel, his quiet strength, his steady presence, his forgiveness that came too late for me to deserve. I thought of Liam too, but only as a lesson carved into bone. I didn't hate him. I didn't want him back. He was simply the reminder of who I'd been, a woman foolish enough to believe passion was worth more than loyalty, a woman who mistook chaos for love. Now when I feel the baby kick, I place my hand over my stomach and breathe. This child wasn't a mistake, but the man was. And the life I lost? Maybe it wasn't mine anymore. Maybe I was meant to walk through the fire to finally see myself clearly. When the baby arrives, I will hold them close, not as a punishment, not as a reminder, but as a beginning. Because the truth is simple, quiet, and final. I lost everything I thought I needed, and in that loss, I found the one thing I never had, myself.
How could you do this?